we're going to go right into the committee of the whole meeting, which I'll ask for a roll call again.
Mason.
Here.
Luther.
Here.
Here. Martina.
Here.
Trustee Pierce.
Present.
Trustee Peterson.
Present.
Here.
Present. Mayoral report. So we do have a brief presentation from the Antioch Area Healthcare Accessibility Alliance. I see Kim Schnorr and Colleen Lennon are here to present. They have their big fundraiser this weekend on Sunday. So they're here to tell us a little bit about their organization, which was in this building for years and now is over in the what is now called Dolly Spearing Building Senior Center. So they're part of our group in some regards. So why don't you let the public know what you guys do.
All right, thank you very much. Mayor Gardner, board members, village staff. My name is Kim Schnorr, and I am here on behalf of the Antioch Area Healthcare Accessibility Alliance, or AHA, and on behalf also of our chair, Mary Dominiak, who would love to have been here but had a prior commitment. We thank you for allowing us a very short time to thank you for your willingness to help us help our community. And as you mentioned, you have given us a space, first of all, here in this building, but then in the new or old Dolly Spearing building. And it has allowed for us to continue our mission and to meet with people who need to be met with on a more private basis. And so, again, we are grateful since 2011 when the Healthcare Foundation of Northern Lake County did a needs assessment, and they deemed, believe it or not, Antioch a healthcare desert. Due to lack of medical options, including physicians and hospitals, as well as a lack of public transportation. And so AHA was formed with three key pillars. One is network nurses. The other is transportation to medical appointments, which are more than, oh, can you grab a PACE bus and see what you can do? It's people that volunteer and they pick people up at their door and sometimes, you know, help them get into a car because some of the needs are greater than getting onto a PACE bus. And also health literacy, including, you know, how to help and with whom and what do people need? I don't know if any of you have ever struggled with healthcare or health insurance. It can be mind-boggling, and especially if you're not feeling well. So we help to get the tools to the people who need the tools. So from the very beginning, the Village of Antioch provided and continues to provide some priceless assistance. Basically with the delivery of the space to do what we do, utilities, a phone number, 395-2809, and we are grateful. So I will tell you, we are 100% funded by donations and grants. We have a tiny team of 4 1/2 employees, including a full-time and a part-time nurse, a program coordinator, certified application specialist, a program, an executive director, that would be this Colleen Lennon, who also writes grants, which means she begs for money, and she does it really well. And a community health worker who goes out into the community and says, hey, you need help? Come on, we'll tell you what we can do to help you. And it's more than just calling 211. It's more than just 211, yeah, here's a phone number. No, we actually sit down with you and work the process with you. This is big stuff. So we just want to let you know we are grateful. We appreciate you. I'm going to have Colleen address a few points, but I'm going to wind it up because I know you've got a busy schedule. And again, we very much appreciate the help with what we have as our joint mission, which is to serve the people that need the help. So Colleen Lennon, here you go.
But I'm just going to echo what Kim said. I can't thank all of you enough because the village has been incredibly supportive. If it weren't for the village and their staff, I don't think that AHA would still be here. I've been here 9 years now in October, and we started with 2 people and a very tiny team, and we've expanded our services, and we couldn't have done any of that without all of you and all of you over here, because all of them do a little piece for us every now and then. So that being said, just to give you an idea of some of the things that we do, one of the things that's been very beneficial to us was initially, we were wondering why people weren't accessing our services and the people that need us the most. Let me just define, we target the disenfranchised and the low income, but we will help anybody with a healthcare access issue. So it doesn't matter how much money you make or whatever your status is, we will help you. So let me just be clear on that. We do these events in the buildings in Antioch because many of the people we need to serve weren't able to get to us. So we started a program which is called Talk to a Nurse. And what that is it's a program where we go into buildings in Antioch, Oak Ridge, Millview, Orchard Manor, the township, we go to Antioch Township, and we do these events called Talk to a Nurse, where they have 15 minutes one-on-one to sit with our nurse, talk to her about any medical issues they have. And then if they need more help after that, we follow up with them on individual appointments. That was our way to get to those people who can't get to us. But on top of that, Kim typed out this really nice notes, and I put my glasses on to read them. On top of the medical the rides to medical appointments, help navigating the healthcare insurance. Many people, even if you are very bright, you don't understand the healthcare system or the insurance policies or any of that. Our 2 nurses are very well versed in all of that. We also have an application specialist who can sign you up for the ACA, Medicaid, Medicare, all of that, any of that. If you have any questions about your insurance, need any help with any of that, we can also provide that. We do everything from our staff and our partners, including advocacy, home assistance, appointment scheduling. Oftentimes our nurses will get on a phone with a client and say, call the doctor if they get the permission from the client to set up what the patient needs, because the nurse can be more clear about what it is they need and help them understand what the doctor said. That helps a lot. Many of you may know that it's hard to get into medical professionals because they're overwhelmed. There aren't enough of them. And we find, I'm not a nurse, so when we're having trouble with a client, I will reach out to one of our nurses and say, you need to call the doctor, because they listen to them differently. That's the beauty of having the 2 nurses on our team. When the nurse calls and says, I'm calling from AHA, it's a whole different story than someone like me calling and saying, because they know how to speak their language. We've helped people with everything from moving up appointments. From one woman in particular had a healthcare issue, had heart issues, and was told she couldn't get an appointment for like 3 months. The nurse called back, said her magic words, they got her in that week because they understood the urgency of what was going on. So we do all of that kind of stuff. We also do a lot of health literacy, to Kim's point, where we'll go into the community and talk about different issues. We've helped with the opioid epidemic. We helped bring people up here to distribute Narcan with the police and the fire. We just ran a dementia-friendly training program. Antioch is going to be one of the first to become a certified dementia-friendly community, and we just held trainings for our first responders, which was wonderful. We had a real good time with them. So anything health related, we can help you with. And that covers a wide variety of things. We've done things with the Age Guide organization where we provided robotic pets for people with Alzheimer's and dementia. These robotic pets are very interactive and they help people calm down. One person in particular told us that their mother came out of the room for the first time in 3 months to show the cat the house that it lived in. She didn't realize that it wasn't a real cat, but it's okay. It works. It helps people. And on top of that, during COVID, we were working behind the scenes. We set up test sites with the police department, who helped us with the Illinois Department of Health to set up COVID testing sites in Antioch. We also coordinated 2 of the first inoculation events that provided vaccines for 2,100 people. Just in Antioch alone, AHA has served close to 4,000 families since our inception. So the list goes on, but one that just came in recently that was a little different, just to give you an example of some of the things that we can do. We got a call from a mother who was upset because her son was ready to start his driver's ed, and the young man has epilepsy. So in order to drive, they needed to get a epilepsy monitor. And what they're going to do with the epilepsy monitor was he would put the monitor on, and then the doctor was going to adjust his medications to get it to a point where he would be safe to drive. The doctor wrote the prescription for the epilepsy monitor. The insurance company would not pay for the epilepsy monitor. So the mother tried all kinds of things and was stuck, and she somehow got our phone number. When she got to us, we turned her over to our network nurse, who then called different people that we partner with. She was able to find grant money, and the young man now has his epilepsy monitor and is gonna be starting driver's ed in the fall when he goes back to school. So it's a myriad of things. You might need in-home caregivers to help your loved one. You might need to help someone move to an assisted living. You might need anything health related. During COVID, we also set up test sites or we set up sites that distributed food to 400 to 600 families every month. Some of those are still going on in Fox Lake and Ingleside and Lake Moore and all those places outside of Antioch, but Antioch has great food pantry. So you don't need the food assistance up here because Mary Teresa Open Arms does a great job, but I think I could go on for hours, but there's a lot of stories we could tell you about the impact that we've had, but I just want to tell you that it's been a wonderful experience. I've been doing this for many, many years. Most of my work downtown Chicago, moved back out here because this is where I grew up, and it's been wonderful to give back to the community where I grew up. And I can't tell you how proud I was of this community during COVID, and I just bragged about all of you last week at a legislative meeting because I said, this community came together like nobody else during COVID, and not one organization said, we can't do that, we don't do that, that's not our mission. We met every Friday morning on Zooms. We talked about all the resources that were available, who was gonna do what, and people just went out and did it. So kudos to Antioch. We're very proud to be here and hope to be here for a long, long time.
Thank you.
Okay, so we do cover Antioch, we cover Lake Villa, Lindenhurst, Fox Lake, Ingleside, Bolo, parts of Lake Moore, Spring Grove, parts of Brown Lake that are in Grand Township, and then in 2024, we expanded into Avon Township. We're stretched really thin. Our budget is currently less than $400,000 a year, okay? Now that may seem like a lot of money, but if you consider that we have 4.5 employees and that we are going crazy helping, that's not a lot. So the needs are growing. The benefit to our community is priceless. What you do to make sure our mission moves forward is amazing. We're grateful to the village of Antioch, and you have recognized the benefit of our work in our community with neighbors helping neighbors. Your contribution is twofold. It helps us financially, and it helps us knowing that you honor our mission. You see the value, you see the need. Thank you, Village of Antioch Board. Thank you, Mayor Scott Gardner. Your commitment to the people of our community is impressive. Thank you for caring. And if your ears are ringing from time to time, it's us. We're talking about you and your commitment to the people we serve together. Thank you.
That's hours of operation. How do you contribute to
Well, so we, as I said, we are not on any tax roll. So how people can contribute to us is they can write a check to AHA. We are a 501c3. And what that means is we're a charity. So all your contributions are tax write-offs. And sometimes besides the village of Antioch doing what it does, we have some other municipalities that also contribute financially. We have some that don't. But a lot of private individuals will write us a check, whether it's for $25 or $10,000. And it's all very much appreciated.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you.
Give me that list of the ones that don't.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
Later.
All right, so next is our adjudication officer, Timothy Evans, served us for 2 years, no, almost the whole time, several years. He took a position with the civil division of the state's attorney's office, so he no longer serves as our hearing officer. So I called one of our local recently retired judges, Mr. Ted Peconiak, and asked him if he'd be willing to fill that position, and he said he would do that. He wasn't able to make it tonight, but if the board approves his appointment, not only as the hearing officer, but also as the deputy local liquor commissioner, I would entertain a motion in a second to appoint him, and then we will have the clerk swear him in for the next hearing date.
Unless there's an objection to covering both motions, it doesn't need to be, we can do it as combined motion.
I'll make the motion to combine both.
That's fine, yeah.
To village hearing officer and Local deputy liquor control commission.
Second.
All right, motion trustee Pierce, second trustee Peterson. Any discussion regarding this? All right, roll call please.
Mason,
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Martina,
Yes.
Pierce,
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. All right. We. Okay, all right, now do I have a motion and a second to, do the approval of both? Motion trustee
Second.
Pierce, second trustee, Peterson, roll call please.
Mason,
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
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 Pierce.
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you. 6 voting yes, motion carries. Chair Wilcox is? Okay, all right, now he'll be here. Okay, so next we're gonna go to this mayoral proclamation momentarily. Senator Craig Wilcox is down the street. He is going to join us for this. So again, we're gonna just pass this for one moment and move on to citizens wishing to address the board while we wait for him.
The opportunity to speak to the board is provided for members of the public who have a comment to make about the business of the board. The board appreciates hearing from stakeholders and values your thoughts and questions. The board strives to make the best decisions for the village. Public input is very helpful. The board must protect the civility and decorum of this meeting. Please be respectful for the duties of the board in the democratic process in your comments tonight. Please state your name and address your comments to the board. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please be factual and courteous, and the board requests that you not make statements that are personally disrespectful or condescending to members of the board or staff. To the extent multiple speakers are addressing a single issue, mayor reserves the right to limit the number of speakers making public comment of a repetitive nature and or limit the amount of time for public comment. The board does not respond to comments or attempt to answer questions during the public comment period. Jason Smith?
Jason Smith, 883 North Main Street. I manage Station 51 here in Antioch. Also recently just moved, living off Jahalia Trail. I wanted to talk in regards to the conceptual design of the area here on Main Street for the Village Hall. I personally believe that this town needs this multi-use building to go up. I think it is essential for the economic growth amongst small businesses in downtown Antioch. I know change is hard at times, but I do believe that I have the utmost confidence in Mayor Scott, the design and planning architect firm, of actually keeping the rural roots of Antioch, along with the charming locality that it has. So I do believe that this is something that is very positive for a bunch of our small businesses, especially those restaurants with 15 Lakes, Rivalry, and then the staples, obviously the Vegas, and also the Lodge. So me personally, I just wanted to say that I do hope that this does get approved. I do hope that we do move forward. I think it's only going to strengthen this town, strengthen the community, and help us.
Thank you.
Stella before Alberry?
Yeah, that's me. I can't, I'm done there, but. Good evening, Salvatore Cartamone from Oliveri North, the other restaurant in town at 384 Lake Street. So, on forward, building like this, I think will benefit. I've been here now for about a decade in town, and I've seen where I was and where I'm at today within the growth of the town. Definitely we are for something like that. We will support and I will be part of that with the village and everybody else. And thank you for your support again from me here in Oliveri and all the help that we get. But we are for that. We are for the focus. Thank you again.
Andy House?
Andy Helzer, I represent Oliveri North as one of the primary equity partners, as well as JJ Twigs of Antioch. And we are looking at investing in other things throughout the community. And I think anything that brings more residents to the downtown district is a benefit. We need that foot traffic. We need to address the parking, we need to make sure that there's more people inside of this community and not just down on the 173 corridor. I think, as a small business owner, a mom and pop restaurant like an Olive Berries or like a JJ Twigs, our life breath is growing the community in size. And so we love the fact that, there's residential development happening in the downtown area. We'd actually like to see more of it. And, not necessarily density, but, properly structured with parking facilities, because I think we all agree it's hard to park anywhere in downtown Antioch. And as long as that's addressed, we fully support what you guys are doing here at this village hall location. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move on to the regular business for a moment, which, first item is approval of the July 9th, 2025 meeting minutes as presented. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Motion trustee Bluthart, second trustee McNeil, roll call please.
Mason,
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Pierce,
Aye.
Peterson,
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Next item is discussion regarding a concept plan for the Village Hall building located at 874 Main Street. There's a PowerPoint presentation that, the proposal or the developer is here to, give the village board and, community a brief overview of what they're looking to do at this site.
My name is Anders Rustin. I live in Chicago. I am an architect for this. I work for OKW Architects. We are a firm that has been around for about 60 years doing mixed use projects, residential projects, retail projects, all across Chicagoland, and actually all across the country as well. What we have up on the screen here for you, is a rendering of a new residential mixed use building at the intersection of the and Orchard, which is exactly where we are right now. What we're proposing is a 36-foot high 3-story building that contains residential units on the second and third floor, and then a mixture of retail and some residential units on the ground floor as well. We're also proposing about 11 spaces of parking on this parcel, and then also proposing to utilize the village lot across the street to also supplement some of the residential tenants that would be living here. As for the design, we actually had a couple of conversations with Antioch early on to make sure that we were doing the village service in designing this building. So we actually walked down Main Street, took pictures of the existing buildings, and we drew inspiration for this facade that fronts Main and Orchard to basically match that historic language, have some different tones that you have, some of the detailing. So it is a primarily masonry facade on that face, with a lot of traditional language about it. And then we've taken the residential bar that hits Orchard, we've actually stepped aside, that's from the street, and then that would wrap around on the other side as well. There is an aerial view here just showing the massing. We had some conversations early on about the height of this building because we could technically go up to 4 stories, but we really felt like with the character of Main Street itself, that 3 stories was the appropriate height to anchor this corner. Here you can see the first floor plan. So everything in blue is residential units, or the lighter blue is also the lobby and amenity and fitness space that would be available for the tenants. And then in the darker orange, you have a retail space for rent. And in the lighter orange on the corner of the building would be a restaurant space. And then you can see the 11 parking spaces as part of the property in the back. And then we haven't done the unit planning yet, but the floor plate for the building continues up. So this is what levels 2 and 3 would look like. It would be a pretty typical frame building with 2 stairs, an elevator, trash room, really common and modern amenities for the building. And then here's a zoomed out view showing the village owned parking lot across the street. There's about 167 spaces there. We would need about 70 spaces total to serve a building with this many units. Is 42 units. So we'd be providing 11 of those and then looking to utilize 59 in the lot across the street. here's some previews of what we might expect the planning to look like. So again, we would have a fitness space for the residential tenants, some work areas, some lounge areas. And then on the right side is our most typical bedroom, 1 bedroom unit. So you walk in, you have a laundry closet with some hanging space. You have a kitchen with a peninsula, and places to sit there as well. You have a generous living room, and then also a bedroom with a walk-in closet that connects to your bathroom. And then here's just some really preliminary conceptual renderings of what some of these amenity spaces might look like. So this is that lounge area. We have a view of the fitness area, a view of some of the work sharing spaces that would be down in that main space as well. And then a couple of renderings of what these 1 bedroom units might look like. So again, you're gonna have the laundry right behind that kitchen. Then you're gonna have a full kitchen with microwave, stove, dishwasher, full refrigerator. There's gonna be some seating at that island, and then generous living room for a couch, chair, tables, TV. Bathroom as well. Typically they have showers. There are some code requirements in the state of Illinois. So some of the units will have showers, some will have tubs. There's an appropriate mix for accessible uses. You're gonna have a full counter, sink, storage, again, really nicely imagined. And then I'm gonna actually hand it over to our developers. So this is Itamar Deshi with Community Properties to talk about the rest of the project.
Itamar Deshi, 1710 Marcy Lane, Norfolk, Illinois. Thank you for having us first, everyone. Any questions so far? Comments?
Trustee Peterson?
What type of rent, how much is the rent gonna be for these? Are they, they're not condos, they're apartments?
Apartments. 1 bedrooms. As of today's market, we're getting anywhere between $1,750, $2,000. 2 bedrooms, 2,000 to 2,500.
Trustee Pierce?
So it's gonna be all, the lower level is going to be restaurants, fitness center, shared, work area. The apartments above, what's their mixed use ratio gonna be? Are you gonna have some high-end apartments, low-end apartments? Are you gonna have some Section 8 housing? Are you gonna have, what's your intended target for residents?
Sure. So only half, I won't go back to the side part, only half of the lower.
Excuse me, could you speak into the microphone? We can't hear you.
Only half of the lower level is amenities and retail. The other half is gonna be apartments. So they're gonna stack on the 2 units. I'm gonna show you. Sorry for rounding. This is an existing property. We just not just, but we finished not too long ago. And we're gonna use the same finishes, same quality for all the units. They're gonna be identical, different layouts because of we have some things we need to address, but every unit is gonna look the same like the other one. This is about the finishes for all of them. No Section 8, only market rent.
Onto the parking issue. It's already been mentioned earlier tonight that parking's a disaster sometimes in this town, especially when we have events. We're expected to give them 59 parking spaces that are desperately needed by 100 people. Or are we gonna be expecting in a year or two to have to put aside millions of dollars to build a parking garage and facility so that your residents can park and our residents can park?
It's a question too.
That is a question. Why are we giving you 59 spaces of parking, but we don't have 59 spaces for people to park when we have an event downtown and they're screaming and yelling at us already?
Sure. There's 2 answers to this question. The first answer is that it's for the whole unit. It's gonna be my tenants, but they're gonna live here, they're gonna spend here, they're gonna enjoy here, they're gonna walk here, come to the parties, whatever parking issue that there is now, they're gonna suffer from the same. We had a conversation with the city about finding some bigger solutions for the parking problem. I think it's a bit premature for now. And we all share the same problem.
We're just gonna add more people and share the pain together. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, that's a.
Trustee Mason,
How many total units are in the building?
42.
42 and 11 spots.
Or building.
How many apartments? If you have two cars to apartment, how do you make up that parking spot to the retail? You should take in parking away from the other retail of Schwinn and whatnot.
So we know that there's a parking in here. We have some solutions that I'll be pretty sure, I think, to discuss.
I think that's a big issue, is parking. We don't wanna take away another business start crying. We can't do business if no one can park.
continue.
Any other questions?
Go ahead. When I see the rest of you, I go for it. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. There's not much more to show. There's just the concepts that we were taken from other locations. We hope to put up another coffee place, but it's just a wish. It's not anything more than that, like the one over there. This is the one we have in our building. And we hope that this is how it's gonna end up. And we hope to find a solution for the parking as well. It's just the first round.
Yep, so I just wanted the board to see what kind of concepts are coming in. Just again, before they or us spend too much time or resources, so the board can see it, ask the questions to the staff and detail. So, what do you want to do? Go ahead and then I'll go back around.
I agree. I think we do need new development. I also have my reservations regarding this concept. I hope this isn't your only concept, because I think that we need to bring into consideration that downtown is our historic section, right? And so I think we need to bring into this conversation the Historic Preservation Commission, the Lakes Region Historical Society, and I have a vested interest myself. Station 51 is our tenant. My fraternity owns that building, and a 3-story building across the street, I don't think fits that, what we have right now currently on Woodfield. I don't think this design, I'm really not a fan of this cookie cutter design, because in my profession, I go through about 50 communities during the course of my week, and I see this design up and down the communities. I don't think it fits with what we have here on downtown. I also think that if parking's an issue, we should start talking about having a concept where you have cars on the top of the roof. And that's something where I hope you do have more renderings to present this, because I'm not against development, but I'm against this particular rendering.
Comments?
I like the concept and the idea. I think we do need to bring more foot traffic into the downtown. So in theory, I'm interested. I am concerned about the parking, but I have to agree with Trustee Martinez. When I look at your rendering, it's beautiful, but it reminds me of something of Evanston or Chicago or Northbrook, where you're from. I know you tried to align with our downtown, but to me it looks so urban. So I'm not sure that it fits with our aesthetics. I know we have a facade grant program, and we require businesses to kind of meet the period time, and it just looks out of place to me. That's just my thought, but I'm open to more renderings. I'm open to the concept with the consideration of parking too, because I am concerned. So those are my just initial comments.
Trustee Peters?
I'm wondering if you're open to less density, less than 42. And the reason being, it's quite a bit. It's high density, but you cannot provide adequate parking 42. You can't. So that's right there is a problem.
Assuming we solve the parking issue, is it still a density issue or not?
Both. It's a lot. And I think it's, yes, we do need, residential, but that's a lot. I think 42 is too much, especially when you can't back it up with parking. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Any other questions? Trustee Pierce?
I think we have concerns about parking. I know our stores and restaurants, everybody needs more traffic downtown and so that they can succeed. I know that. But when I look at this, it reminds me of when I was a kid in the years ago. And they show us all this beautiful housing stock they're building in Russia and just be concrete building after concrete building after concrete building. Same with, in China, concrete building after concrete building. And then I travel more than Trustee Martinez does. I go to all these towns and they're building things exactly like this. They're modern, they're cool, they're happening, they're hip, but they're so out of place. And it really concerns me. I have to see more on this before I can even consider this.
Thank you, guys.
I just got one
Yeah,
comment. Didn't we have, years ago, we put a moratorium on multifamily apartments, new apartments going up? We had a brother and sister come in and we turned it down. We said, no more apartments.
That was the Brad Ibsen,
No, that was the Sandy.
That was Brad Ibsen who planning
Yeah.
on at that point said no more. And the village did have a moratorium. I don't know if it ever lasted. They had time frame on
I
it.
don't know.
And we did turn down the Myers, but.
We turned down 2 people
And
and they still got the property in Antioch.
so
So this could open the floodgates for another property.
Obviously that predates many of the people on this board. It's an excellent question, Trustee Mason. Thank you for your commentary, Trustee Pierce. We'll look into that, but obviously moratoriums, they cannot be permanent. They are they are usually set up without looking at it. It's impossible for me to comment on it with any substance, but they're usually set up for a temporary time frame to study the issue and see what goes on. We'll pull the applicable minutes from the planning commission and zoning board of appeals. We'll pull any proper legislation and we'll get back to you at the next board meeting. But oftentimes those do have a sunset provision, either time or after a certain study is done and to tender to the regulatory body.
I just want to make a comment that we currently have 1,004 apartments in Antioch right now.
like the third highest and pretty high end.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you guys. All right, thank you for, okay, so, I'm going back to the mayoral report, item number 3. So we have many people here tonight that, are interested in this next topic. We have several, local dignitaries here. We have, State Senator, Colonel Craig Wilcox, I saw walk in the room. He's sitting back there. We have State Representative Tom Weber, who has also taken a big lead on championing the issue of the Safety Act and its implementation. I saw Tom Shaughnessy walk in, our township supervisor, and then obviously we have the family of Megan Voss. We have Jennifer Voss here. With Eric, her husband is here, and is there also with Dawn.
Yeah.
She didn't care. Okay, so the parents are here, and again, if you've been around here in the last couple months, and especially the last week, this story has gotten a lot of coverage both locally and nationally based on the situation and the implementation of what was called the Safety Act, I believe passed in 2021. And we're living through some of the challenges that the act has brought to us. So tonight, I want to ask the family, give them the opportunity to, if they want to say something at the podium. Also, our state representative, Tom Weber, our state senator, township supervisor, anybody that wants to speak on this issue. We did draft a proclamation. As you may or may not know, I am also a practicing attorney. And if I remember correctly, the facts of this bill was passed at about 3 a.m, about 760 some pages, which I don't know about you, but I can never read something that quickly. So there, it's one of those things that was pushed through the legislature. And I think the part of it that's most troubling to me is, we've lost some common sense when we have sweeping laws like this. And most troubling really is the fact that we've taken away discretion from our judges as well. We can't trust our judges to have discretion and some common sense when seeing these heinous crimes come before them, then we have a bigger problem in society. So we really need to, I'm not expecting Springfield to say, okay, we're gonna revoke or repeal this whole act, but I would hope that they would at least take some consideration to put some discretion back in the hands of the judges that hear these matters. And again, not let a situation in a family go through something like this and not know if they're ever going to get justice for their family member. Again, everyone's innocent until proven guilty, but the system needs to be fixed in that regard. So if you want to come up here and say anything with the family, totally up to you. Same thing with any of our local representatives. There is a proclamation. I don't know where it is, but it's on my packet. We updated it a little bit. So we'll read that and then we'll sign it and send it to the parties that we believe should read this.
Hey,
And now you just say, I mean, there's the camera there, and I believe that another channel or two maybe on Zoom. So if you want to turn the podium, feel free so you can so they can see you. That would probably be better for everybody.
I'm Jennifer Western, presenting tonight here. I'm learning to speak in public the same way I learned to swim. And I still can't swim, but, sure. I'm just gonna kind of give you a little brief of what happened. We've heard it over and over again. I'm assuming most of you know the story. So I'm just gonna give you a little brief introduction and we'll go right to it. Megan went missing on February 19th. It was just about 3 weeks after she was released from a rehab program. We didn't realize there was a problem as in her missing until the 9th of March. And that is when I came into the Antioch Police Department and filed a police report with Sergeant Panorati. And our search began. I won't drag out the details of the search, but the community rally, you probably saw a lot at the time when we were looking for her as well. There were flyers, there was some news, there was lots of social media. We really searched and created in hopes that we find her, and I never once thought that she was gone. I thought for sure we would find her safe, but that day in April, we learned that she was found in the garbage can on the property of an illegal alien. He was arrested and charged with concealing a death, abuse of a corpse, and obstructing justice. And he went to his first appearance court the next day and was subsequently released right afterwards. I did not attend that. I was still in quite a bit of shock. I didn't want to be in the same room. And I was told what happened. I was absolutely horrified to find out that he had gotten let go. I never imagined that that could happen. I really believe that they keep a person like this locked up until trial. At that point, we didn't even know how she had died. This was really super confusing. And this is where I really started trying to figure out and understand what was happening. And it's really taken me almost the 3 months that it's been since then to really kind of fully get a grip. And I think that's a lot of the problem with the Safety Act. I think a lot of residents don't realize the cracks in the Safety Act where you can fall through like we did. So we, what I hadn't realized is that since the Safety Act went into action, I think 2021, but 2023 is when it was, right?
They're the experts.
Right?
Those gentlemen, yes.
Been looking at you the whole time. This had become a regular occurrence since this all began. Letting criminals free pending their trial without bail and without monitoring. And so the man who had been charged with 4 Class 4 felonies for what he admitted to Also was the only suspect in my daughter's suspicious death investigation. Yet he's been living and working in the community for the last 3 months with, well, I would say he had very little concern for consequences, you know, quite shitty. I recently learned that he was, by pretrial services, he was placed on a 24-hour curfew. Sounds great. However, I also learned that every day that he is on that pretrial the 24-hour curfew, it counts as time served. So for however long it takes to get to court, he gets that much time off whatever sentence he may get while he's sleeping in his own bed. We recently got the coroner's report back, and not very much of a surprise, but Megan's cause of death is being listed as undetermined. Officially, simply too difficult to commit to the cause of death when there are options of things that cannot be proven or disproved, because there really can't be a full and complete examination and test. That really made me, we got that a couple weeks ago, and I just really have been the last few weeks feeling pretty deflated, feeling that he was just not going to see a day before. Then last week, a dear friend of mine invited me to join her at the presidential signing of the Halt's Fentanyl Act that happened last Wednesday. That's what we did. I had very little notice. She asked me one day, and the next day I was there. I happened to be sitting 3 seats down from Speaker Johnson. When I noticed that, I grabbed a little notebook and scrolled a note to him about some of the things that happened in the case, put my information on it, and passed down the road to get to him. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but after the ceremony had ended, I kind of worked my way up towards where the president was talking to the families who had been representing their children who had died from fentanyl poisoning. I was just kind of hanging back, waiting, thinking I might get his attention. I might get to say something to him. And then he started walking away, and the Secret Service got in front of me, and I was like, and I don't know what possessed me, but my arm went up in the air, and I yelled for him, Mr. President. And he turned around and he looked at me, and I can't tell you verbatim what I said. I didn't have a plan. Once I got his attention, what I was going to say, but I basically told him that she had been found in the garbage can placed there by an illegal alien who had hidden her body from us for 2 months while we searched for her, and that he was separate. And he looked at me and he said, watch what happens. And 3 days later, Jose Mendoza Gonzalez got picked up by ICE in Chicago on Saturday. So, needless to say, that makes me feel hurt. I'm not here for political reasons. I am here about policy. A lot of people think that I politicized my daughter's death, that I shouldn't be, bringing these things up. But you know what? This affects all of us. It affects all of us because the policies determine whether a dangerous person is going to be held or released. And I'll explain what happened in our case. So Jose Mendoza Gonzalez, he was charged with 4 class felonies, as I said before. And class 4 felonies are non-detainable with almost no exception. Now, I've been told 2 things. I was told no exception, but I have since learned there is a little exception. The prosecutor has to file a petition to detain, and then they have the burden of proving that the offender shows an extreme risk of danger to the community or an extreme flight risk. And Jose Mendoza Gonzalez did not meet the legal criteria of either of those things. There isn't much in the law books of Illinois that kind of fit what he did. And remember, we're talking about what he did after, not, we don't know how she died. That's still under investigation. This is specifically what he has admitted to. And there is not very much law that can apply to what he did. So although it sounds really serious that he's got these class 4 felonies, if you break it down, his charges are for not reporting a death, moving her body 2 times, and breaking and disposing of her phone. That's what those charges represent, those actions. None of that meets a danger threshold, and it is illegal status, can't be used to elevate the level of risk of flight. So the judge really didn't have a choice but to let him go. The guidelines are such that judicial discretion has been taken away. Even with the detainable crimes of class 3 felonies and up, the prosecutors still have to file the petition. There then has to be a separate hearing for detaining. The prosecutor still has the burden of proof. Those 2 things, the danger to the community and the flight risk. And if they can't prove those 2 things, beyond a reasonable doubt, that there's this extreme, they can't take care of them in a lesser restrictive way, then they can let them go too. Class 3 felonies, class 2 felonies. It's crazy thinking. It really is crazy thinking what is going on with this. I have seen some cases recently posted online about some offenders going free and their gun charges. I mean, there is violence and they're still getting let go. Our family, we've suffered a great deal of stress and anxiety, me especially, knowing that he was free to go on with his life while he was waiting trial. We had to be shuffled through the courthouse a different way the day of court. First day when he got officially charged, because I had a complete panic attack over the possibility of meeting him in the security line while we were trying to get into court, walking down the hall with him, sitting outside the courtroom waiting for it to open. All those things could have happened, and yeah, I don't know how I could have handled that. I have dedicated every day since Megan was found to try and find a loophole or some other reason to have him detained, and so far 3 months later there hasn't been one. The only way that he could be detained by Lake County at this point is if he commits another crime or violates his pretrial agreement somehow. And he was released without a monitor on his leg as well. While it's great that he is finally detained, he never should have been walking free in the first place. And it shouldn't take me, a mother who should be taking the time to breathe and do those things, going to the White House to get justice from him. It shouldn't take the national headlines for lawmakers in Illinois to wake up. And I've been doing this since the day they found her. I have been trying. I've been graciously invited to Springfield to talk. I've tried to make my voice heard as much as possible, and it just falls on deaf ears. And this is why I was pushing so hard to get a little bit of national attention on this, because I don't believe that within Illinois, we can change this law ourselves, no matter who supports us. I just don't, it takes both sides, and both sides are not going to work together, it seems. The safety act really, it failed my daughter. I mean, her dignity was already stripped from her. And then it failed us by not holding him accountable. I don't understand how they expect you to prove somebody needs to be in jail in order to hold them in jail, in order to have a trial, to prove that they did what they did. It, I can't, I just can't. This failing families everywhere, all over the state, it's just time and time again, when I have a few moments, I'm gonna put together a group of stories and release them all at once, because you'll be horrified at what you see. Policies determine whether justice is served or denied, and right now, Illinois has this law in place that says even if you're charged with abusing a corpse and just obstructing justice or hiding a body, if you're not deemed a threat by this very narrow legal definition, you just get to go free. And think about this. What precedent are we setting? The man was found with a dead body that he had hidden in his yard for 51 days. Nobody questioned how she died before they let him go. So what other person with a dead body in their possession is going to think, well, nothing happened to him. Oops, this person died accidentally, or oops, I accidentally killed this person. I'm not gonna tell anybody, I'm just gonna hide the body, because eventually there won't be enough evidence to figure it out anyway. You're not gonna lock me up. There's something very broken in that, because we all know that court cases are fought on things that happened before. So Megan's case is something that can set either a very good precedent or a very, very damaging frightening. So I hope that no matter what political leanings or side, whatever you want to call it, I hope everybody can come together and hear Megan's story, understand what it's about, and really bring some meaningful legislative change. All felonies should be detainable. There should be an option to detain anybody who has committed a felony, regardless of what it is. Cash bail, I believe, needs to be returned, and judges, they just need to be allowed to judge. That's what they're there for. It literally is their name. I appreciate you giving me the time to speak and for honoring Megan. And, you know, hopefully we can get something done and see some change with the help of some great legislators.
State Representative Tom Weber. I just want to thank the mayor and the village board for recognizing the horrific experience that the Boss family is going. And Jennifer, stay strong. I've been over with the Boss family a couple days, talking with the media, and you know, this is something that no family wants to go through. You know, we don't know the last moments of Megan's life. The fact that someone could do these horrific things and our laws would not hold that person. At least electronic monitoring, something, until we find out or have an idea of what happened to Megan those last minutes. What was she actually? You know, person leaves 5 minutes and comes back and it says that Megan was dead. How do they know that? How do we know that that call to 911 might have made the difference? How do we know that if we didn't have people here illegally, that today Megan might still be alive? You know, the fact that we have abuse of a corpse and that is not detainable. One of the pieces of legislation that I'm working on would be abuse of a corpse during the concealment of the death of a human person. That would be a class X felony.
that is wrong to use chemicals or anything else on a human body. And to think that someone can walk into court, on Thursday, be brought in for questioning, charged on Friday, let out Saturday morning is wrong. And this story was so horrible when I first heard of it, and shared Megan's story. Our office was helping, as much as we could. And then when we found that Megan was found, I called Jennifer, and her story affected me so much. When I went to Springfield the next day, I was going to speak on it, but I did not think I could contain myself. Just thinking if that was one of my family members, how I would feel and how the Boss family must be feeling, and that no family in this room or anywhere else in the state of Illinois should have to go through this. So I just want to say, Jennifer, stay strong. Mayor, thank you very much. And let's make some changes here in Illinois. Thank you.
Beautiful.
I just want to say to Jennifer, I haven't really interacted with you at all. I haven't heard your story until tonight. And it really, I'd like to leave the room and compose myself, but I don't have that option. And I know you don't have that option either. So I appreciate you being here, because what you tell me, honestly, is one of my greatest fears for my children. And sometimes I'm closer to that fear than you know. So I do appreciate sharing your story. It's very touching. As far as the Safety Act and this proclamation, I would ask the mayor, once we pass this or approve this, that any trustee who wants to be allowed to sign it along with the mayor, so we can add our names to it. And honestly, I do think the Safety Act needs to be repealed and true comprehensive legal reform put in place. But I worry that the current leadership in Illinois doesn't have the stomach for it. And I hope that someday they do, that they find a way forward to hold criminals accountable and to treat everybody with the respect that they deserve, both the criminals and the victims. And this Safety Act doesn't do that. This Safety Act treats the criminals with more respect than the average everyday resident of Illinois, and it's terrible. So, Jennifer, thank you for sharing your story. It's very, very touching. Thank you.
All right, well, again, Jennifer, thank you. Again, everybody here, pray for you and your family. We're all here to support you. I'm glad that you finally have some path towards maybe getting some justice here. We'll do everything we can, and I think our state reps, our state senators, my hope, and again, this is just one little piece, this mayoral proclamation that we'll send out, and this whoever wants to sign it can sign it. But hopefully we can get through all this partisan politics and have some common sense and get some common sense reform on this, and at least give judges back their ability to do their job, as you said. And again, great job public speaking. You should be proud of yourself. You really told the story and taught us a lot today as well. So without further ado, the proclamation is calling for review, amendment, or repeal of the Safety Act to restore judicial discretion. Whereas the Village of Antioch, Illinois is deeply committed to preserving public safety and protecting rights of victims and upholding the rule of law for all residents and visitors. Whereas in 2021, the Illinois General Assembly enacted and the governor signed into law the Safety Act, which is the Safety, Accountability, Fairness, and Equity Today Act, a comprehensive criminal justice reform bill that significantly altered pretrial detention standards, bail procedures, electronic monitoring policies, and police authority across the state of Illinois. And whereas the Safety Act's elimination of cash bail and adoption of a general pretrial release framework has made it increasingly difficult to detain individuals accused of serious and violent crimes, thereby limiting the ability of the judges to exercise discretion based on the risk posed to the community. And whereas this framework has resulted in a revolving door effect that allows individuals charged with dangerous offenses to be released back into the community while awaiting trial, potentially endangering public safety and eroding community trust in the criminal justice system. And whereas the Safety Act also imposes a complex and ambiguous mandates on local law enforcement agencies amends hundreds of statutory provisions and substantially increases compliance costs for municipalities already managing limited public safety resources. And whereas numerous law enforcement and public safety leaders across Illinois have expressed serious concerns about the operational challenges, legal uncertainties, and potential risks to community safety arising from the Act's implementation. And whereas tragic cases, such as the release of a suspect accused of concealing the death of Megan Boss, highlight the pressing need to reevaluate provisions that prevent the pretrial detention of defendants who may pose a real danger to the public. And whereas the Village of Antioch realizes that meaningful criminal justice reform should balance fairness and accountability while maintaining essential tools for judges and law enforcement to keep communities safe, and whereas public officials of all levels of government share responsibility to ensure that reforms serve both justice and public safety, particularly when safety of victims and the broader community may be compromised. Now, therefore, I, Scott Gardner, Mayor of the Village of Antioch, Illinois, by virtue of the authority vested in me and on behalf of the Village Board of Trustees and residents of Antioch, do hereby call upon the Illinois General Assembly and the Governor of the State of Illinois to urgently review and amend the Safety Act. We further urge that such amendments restore judicial discretion in pretrial detention decisions, especially in cases involving violent or serious offenses, and that all reforms be crafted in collaboration with law enforcement, municipal leaders, and community stakeholders to ensure the protection of victims and preservation of public safety. In witness whereof, I set my hand and cause the seal of the Village of Antioch to be affixed this 23rd day of July, 2025. I need a motion and a second.
Second.
Motion, trustee Pierce and Masek, second, trustee Peterson, roll call please.
Definite, yes.
Luther,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Pierce,
As always, aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
All right, 6 voting yes, motion carries. Thank you for coming here this evening. I'm gonna take a 5-minute recess right now, and then we'll go back into the board meeting in 5 minutes. So the meeting will be adjourned for 5 minutes. Thank you. The whole meeting, I forget what day it is. It's item number 3 is this is a new item that is discussion regarding ordinance amending the Antioch Village Code regarding natural gas use tax. Director Michael Peterson, Finance Director, will tell the board what this is about.
Thank you, Mayor. So I was recommending this tax, based on the mayor's initiative, which was to have diverse revenues with the least impact to Antioch residents. And this tax applies, it says, to individuals and businesses who purchase natural gas from outside Illinois, but all the residents purchase within Illinois here in Antioch. So I don't believe this would have any impact on residents whatsoever. And this goes back 20 plus years ago at least. But you have the natural gas tax, and so all the residents that are paying this. But little did they know when they had this all in place that there was a loophole that said that if you're purchasing your gas from an Illinois provider, you're paying the tax. Well, businesses in that could purchase from outside of Illinois, and nobody was the wiser, I guess. But when it came about, they said, okay, we should have this use tax because they're bringing this gas into town, into the Illinois, and they're using it here, and it should be taxed. And this has been available again for I think some 20 years, and I don't know how maybe it, wasn't word of mouth, maybe wasn't noticed, but it has been passed. And so if you were to ask me right now, what kind of dollars are we talking about? I can tell you, this could be zero and it could be hundreds of thousands. I've seen communities in the hundreds of thousands that this generates. And again, this is not on residents. This would be more of the larger businesses that they're going to have smart financial people. They're all going to be looking for the loopholes. More than likely, they knew this. So this is having them pay that natural gas tax like everybody else. And mentioned to the staff and the directors and the mayor today, and we were saying, well, we're having all these new dollars, what do we do with these? I need to take a step back as we go into the next financial forecast to see how this is all playing out and what is available. So I wouldn't be saying bank any dollars on, cutting the taxes for that immediately. For this purpose, I could look and say that it might make more sense ultimately if there's dollars coming in that you look at eliminating the vehicle tax or the golf cart tax or something where you say, those are dollars, actually residential dollars that we can say, we eliminate that before you look at maybe property taxes or something. So there's a lot to be thought through. We're not ready to make that recommendation yet, but at this time I would be recommending the natural gas use tax, very important use tax.
Questions for finance? Any on this side? Trustee Luther?
Yeah, well, you've answered part of my question, but so we have no idea who it impacts, and we have no idea what type of revenue we're talking about. I have a problem with that, trying to pass a new tax when we don't know who it impacts and how much we're talking about.
And so, municipalities, if you can look backwards and Antioch, one of them, which really surprised me that they would hire a utility tax audit company, and the most popular one in the area has been ASBAR. And so it's been several years ago that ASBAR actually did a utility tax audit for Antioch. But their number one moneymaker is to recommend that you pass this. And they're gonna get 35 to 39% of the dollars that come in from that over whatever the agreed upon period is, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it ends up being, when you sign an agreement with them. And I was shocked that that wasn't there as a recommendation. So I thought, okay, I've been working in home rule communities for so long now that I don't remember non-home rule authorities. And so I put it off to the side, and then later something popped up again. I'm like, no, I think we could do this. And I started working hard with Jimmy, and they said, yeah, we could do this. I said, oh, this is great. Well, my point is that company, they can't identify. All they can do is say, we recommend you pass and sweet C. So they're in the business of this. And if there was a way for you to determine that, they would have figured that out and said to you, in our estimate, this is $1 million deal. You're going to end up getting this much money from it in taxes. And then you're going to pay us our 35, 39%. So because they don't have that, there's no way someone like me is going to be able to help that.
Have you checked with neighboring communities to verify that they have an ordinance of this fashion in their community?
So I'm well aware of all the communities that have passed. But again, because I've been so into home rule, I mostly see the home rule communities, the large ones. But when something pops up, and I want to say it's Northbrook. Northbrook was, the population of Turkish? 35,000. 35,000, okay, so they're home rule. So I was trying to think of who's the smallest one I could think of. But when I come back to the next meeting, I'll have more details and specifics for you. So
Yeah, I mean, that's my concern is,
Yep.
Just because we can tax, doesn't mean we
Right,
have to tax, number one.
Absolutely.
I'm concerned by the language in it, because it talks about users and everything else, that this could impact residents.
Right, but residents are currently paying the natural gas tax currently, because the only provider they have is an Illinois gas provider. There isn't, I'm not making a phone call saying, hey, can I get my gas here in Wisconsin? And avoid this. And if they were, you'd be like, so my neighbors were smarter than me and they were able to do this, but I've been doing the tax, and you're what? Not wanting them to pay the tax?
I just would like, I understand what you're saying, and I get that if, it's gonna be hard to try to find this information out, I understand that.
Yep.
I would just like to see us put an effort in, at least with the neighboring communities, to see if they've done this, and
Oh, yeah.
and if we can get a dollar amount from them, because that would give us an idea of what we're talking about here.
Well,
Because I don't wanna do all this for nothing, or for $100 or $200, but if it's something sizable and it's something that only impacts your pass-throughs that we're talking about, then I could see myself supporting it.
yep, I get
But I'm not getting enough information here that makes me confident that that's what it's doing.
No, first, it's just bringing to your attention, like, that we'd like to do this, and again, the initiative is to diversify revenues with the least impact to residents, and I can't find anything that would be less impactful than something that's really hitting these larger business or the corporations. And this has been out there for 20 plus years, and I could guarantee you, when you look back at the list, they've been going, wow, we're really late to the game on this tax. I was absolutely shocked when I looked at the budget, I went through it, like, natural gas tax, where's the use tax? They must be buried in the number, and that's what I thought initially when I did the budget, then later, more details, no, I don't think that's happening, so.
Well, like I said, any additional information with neighboring communities, if you can, try to collect it, that would be ideal. Thank you.
Any questions or questions to say? Trustee Martinez?
I don't necessarily have a question. I do know that I sent some correspondence to the director. I appreciate his response and well informing me on what the topic at hand was. By my understanding, we're just trying to level the playing field. Is that correct?
I would say
In my assumption.
I would say that's dead on right.
Trustee Pierce?
Yeah, I read the correspondence you sent back to them on this, and your explanation then and here is that this tax is for people who are escaping the current taxes that are being charged by going outside the state and purchasing outside the state.
Yeah.
I don't understand, first of all, how we're going to find out what businesses outside the state are gonna report to the village of Antioch, who's buying gas from them, other than start going to everybody's gas meters or something and doing some sort of tracking on something. I don't get that part, because if I was a business outside, don't know what to say, I go pack sand to.
No, these are the businesses located here that are purchasing their natural gas.
How do we know whether they're purchasing or not? And where they're purchasing from?
Yep, so, there's different companies that accumulate the current tax rates that these businesses reach out to and say, has there been a change that's affected you? Or these businesses reach to them and say, just so you know, this affected you. And so, like, I don't know if they pay a fee or someone to monitor the changes in taxes for them, because you have to look at, like, a Walmart and say, they're located everywhere. Are they gonna sit and make a phone call to every community to see if they change the tax? They don't. They're using a service of some kind. And what would happen is if you felt like, okay, we passed it, but I still don't feel that warm fuzzy feeling that we are collecting it, then you get the, I think then you could get the ASVAR, because now we have a tax and they're on our behalf confirming whether or not they're paying their fair share.
And I remember when we did the tax, the energy audit, the usage audit on utilities before.
Okay.
And the return wasn't that great. The company that did the audit wasn't that thrilled and didn't want to come back because they didn't make enough here.
Right. And it's because I'm saying I'm shocked and don't understand why that wasn't a recommendation. I could see if they were to say, here's a recommendation, and you could say, thank you for the recommendation, but we're gonna take a path. If you do anything within the next couple of years, you still owe, because that's what you have in your agreement with them. And the only thing I could think of was if someone said, at the time, we just built this business park and we don't want to discourage businesses. So they're gonna get soft dollars from us, not a check or anything, but they're not gonna be paying this tax. And that might be an incentive for them to locate here. But nobody's backed up that story. And I said, I still don't understand how you didn't have tax. Just doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't know what the story was either. Nobody ever told me that story. But I do know we're reaching the point that if somebody breathes in Antioch, we're gonna tax them. And my other question is, as I read this, what I read written down here doesn't correlate to what I'm being told. It doesn't, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't understand all this.
That's what you're reading?
But it doesn't say, oh, this is only applying to people who buy outside the state of Illinois.
Well, that part.
Nowhere it says that in here that I see.
I think you could Google that.
Well, but what we're gonna pass doesn't say that.
My what doesn't?
I don't see where it says in this that if they're buying outside the state of Illinois, they're gonna have to pay, and we're gonna have to hire a firm to get them to pay, just because, and I read this in here, that everybody's gonna pay this tax,
Again, I don't
on
know.
top of what they've got.
What are you reading?
So, in addition to chapter 7, the title 3 of the Antioch Village Code, this tax imposed by this section shall be known as municipal gas use tax, as imposed in addition to all other taxes by the village or any other municipal corporation or political subdivision therefore of. So I'm not reading in there your story. I understand your story and appreciate, I think fairness is fair, but this isn't written that way in my opinion.
If I may. On page, trustee, drawing your attention to page 36 of 356 on my packet.
That's the 336.
356. To prevent multiple taxation, the use of gas in the village by a retail purchaser shall be exempt from the tax imposed by this chapter if the gross receipts from the sale of retail of such gas to retail purchaser are properly subject to a tax imposed upon the seller of such gas pursuant to the village's municipal natural gas as amended, authorized pursuant to the municipal code. So that's lawyer language that says you can't have two taxes. When it says to prevent multiple taxation, is the kind of clause that starts that. So that is the point of that, to ensure that there's not only one. The other, and then if you look down, drawing your attention to page, again, 36 section of the ordinance, which we codified as 3-7-4 collection of the tax. It talks about how the tax will be remitted. The interesting part about this, and I think the director has done an excellent job explaining this, is normally Azavar comes in there and I won't say leeches, but they pull out a third or plus of the amount of money that they find from this because it's their easy layup. Like nobody did this. Azavar basically built a business model, and most of it was based off of this exact tax. And we are getting it without the 33% that's going to Azavar. I don't endorse legislation, but that is the one nice part about this is Azavar is not picking up 33% of this. Now, if we retain a company to collect the tax that we impose on the person selling it, they will take a portion of it. As you see on there, the utility itself takes a 3% administrative fee that has to be provided, and it is reasonable. They have some work to do. But those are the two issues I think you brought up, and hopefully that gives an explanation of them.
Right. Thank you. Yep. Any other?
I have,
Sorry.
I'm in favor of this, and the reason I am is the residents of this community has been paying their utility tax on their gas bill for, I don't know, 10, 12 years now, maybe longer. And there are entities, businesses, other people, whoever they are, that are circumventing this, and they're going and finding a loophole. I am in very much favor to hold them accountable and just, say, okay, now you're gonna start paying this tax because we've implemented this. And it cleans everything up. And we know that we're getting the monies that are owed to this village. And that's what we're sitting here for.
So, I believe you're gonna get some additional, you'll get those lists of the towns and, through, I think, the clerk site that we reviewed previously. And then we'll put it over to the 13th, so I think we have 3 weeks to the next meeting. I'm sure everyone would be sad to know, but yeah. So in 3 weeks, we'll bring this back with that additional information. All right, thank you. Next item number 4, discussion regarding the, is that right? Yeah, discussion regarding the purchase of camera video systems and storage for the Antioch Police Department. Chief Belcho.
Sure, so kind of going hand in hand with the long discussion we had about the Safety Act, is one of the components of the Safety Act that was implemented is the amendments to the Body Worn Camera Act, which require all law enforcement communities within the state to equip their officers with a body worn camera system. We were well ahead of that curve back in 2020 when we implemented our first body worn camera system in town. And at the time we went with an on-site data management system, which essentially means that we have our servers and store all of our data on premise. At the time, the cloud-based storage had not made the emergence that it had. Costs were relatively prohibitive.
But like many things, as time goes on, technology advances, costs become more affordable. And we also had time to kind of start studying what the trends were gonna be, not only within Lake County, but nationally in regards to body worn camera systems and in-car video systems. After we looked at everything, knowing that our current system has reached the end of its 5-year life cycle, which is relatively general for body worn cameras, that's when all your warranties expire, licensing expires, all those type of things. That's happening at the end of the calendar year, so now is the time for us to make the decision on which direction we're gonna go for our next generation of body worn camera systems. After we looked at everything, Axon is the predominant market share, not only within Lake County, Illinois, but nationally, is a vendor for body worn camera systems and in-car video systems. The technology that they use in their systems far surpasses anything else on the market. The ease of use at the end user level, not only the officers in the field, but our records management staff internally to conduct video redactions, which our clerk would tell you there's a tremendous amount of FOIA being processed with body worn and camera systems. So looking for something that's going to leverage technology and make those processes a little bit easier on staff is going to pay off in dividends on cost savings on staff times. And also reduce the headaches on our IT staff. She spends a tremendous amount of time troubleshooting our current system, managing data on site. When we purchased the system, of course, the promise is you have plenty of data to last you the next 5 to 7 years. I think we made it about 18 months before we had to make our first on-premise server upgrades, and then we consistently had to do that at least once per year, investing more capital to expand the on-site storage. So what we're requesting in the actual business meeting for action will be authorization to move forward with an Axon body worn camera system, which would be for the purchase of 34 body worn cameras to equip all of our sworn staff, as well as our CSO and our code enforcement officer, 12 mobile audio video systems, which will be installed in all of our marked patrol vehicles. Included with that along is 5 years worth of licensing, 5 years worth of unlimited cloud storage, and redaction software, 5-year unlimited warranty, installation of all devices, and of course, access to evidence.com, which is Taser's, Axon's, that's their corporate names, data management system. Of important note, about a year, maybe 2 years ago now, as this technology emerged, the Lake County State's Attorney's Office made the decision to partner exclusively with Axon to accept digitally based evidence. So currently, our method is we have to place all videos on very large flash drives, often terabyte data storage devices, which are quite costly. It's not uncommon for us to make those copies, hand deliver them to the state's attorney's office, only to find out a couple weeks later that somewhere along the way, the storage unit was misplaced in their office or something went wrong. We have to repeat that process, of course, investing more time and capital. What Axon or evidence.com allows us to do is allow us to upload all that data into a folder, a virtual folder. We share that with the state's attorney's office, and they have access immediately to that. We don't have to do anything to download it. We don't have to send staff down to Waukegan. It'll store all of our digital evidence files, both photographic and video. So again, a time saver and a cost saver, I think, in the long run when it comes to the on-site storage. The department did go through the camera grant request process through the State of Illinois Training and Standards Board. We were awarded a grant of $79,600 roughly, which will go towards the just shy of $280,000 purchase price for this system. That's a total cost for 5 years. In addition to that, the department is going to be contributing $105,000, excuse me, out of our drug seizure account, which are seizure assets for this cash or sale of automobiles or other property that the department is supporting seizure of, resulting in a general fund contribution of roughly $94,790. Again, just the board's aware, this is going to be an endeavor that we're going to have to go down every 5 years as a municipality. There's different pricing structures we can go through. If we did not have these alternative funding sources, those payments would be stretched out over 5 years, interest-free. Based on the fact that we were awarded that grant, we do have the current available drug seizure funds, of which they're limited in their ability to be spent on certain things. It's called a restricted fund. This is one of the few qualifying expenses for that fund, so I think it's an appropriate use for that. So again, total cost would be $279,391.25. 22, with a total, general fund expense impact of about $95,000. That'll conclude my report unless, board has any questions.
Questions?
No, I'll just make a comment. We went on the cheap with the Panasonics. And in the long run, I think they cost more than the Axon would have. We had bought those at the beginning. And now that it's a standard with those cameras, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and there's a number of liabilities, especially this reminded me of a good point with these body worn camera systems. So the body worn camera act actually requires a battery lifespan. These cameras have to be able to continuously record for a period of 12 hours. Our current system, I don't know that in that 12 hours completely met it, and certainly as those batteries age, the capacity becomes longer, equipment begins to fail, you have to buy new equipment. One of the nice things about the Axon system, the way they structure their pricing is halfway through the agreement in 2.5 years, they completely refresh your cameras. So they send you brand new cameras, you send yours back, they rehab them, go through the cycle. So it allows us to make sure that we have fully functional equipment that's compliant with the current legislation, so that our officers don't get in a pickle down the road violating the camera act.
All right, thank you. Next is discussion regarding an agreement for plumbing inspection and plan and permit review services. Director Marty.
Good evening. So what I have here is, I created a memo. I also created the, request for board action for the contract plumbing inspector. It came to my notice that the current, contract expired and the current, contract plumber wanted extra money. So I had a discussion with the administrator. I said, we should do an RFQ qualifications, request for qualifications, to see if we can get better service and maybe a better account on this matter. So I generated an RFQ. It was posted on the municipal's website on May 21st, 2025. I also reached out to 20 local plumbers by telephone, telling them about this opportunity to possibly work for the municipality on a contract manner. So what you have here tonight is the contract memo and the request for this to pass, both for the CAL and regular meeting. Our current plumbing inspector is working out a contract with the same monetary amount that he's being paid per inspection until hopefully tonight the board chooses to vote on this contract and we can move on in a different direction with a different candidate. It came down to two companies. The first one was Safe Built, and then the second one was R.L. Berman Plumbing Heating Company. Naturally, after I did my due diligence, made phone calls, asked for references, called the references, it came down to Mr. R.L. Berman Plumbing and Heating Company to be the best choice. For one, being a local resident and business owner, and second, to have, an understandable fee for the plumbing services versus Safe Built, which is more of a company. They do things a little differently. So this is what I have here.
Discussion by the board.
Just got a couple questions.
Trustee Mason.
Are they gonna be considered a subcontractor?
No, just a contract.
They're gonna be an employee of the village? A plumbing inspector, are they gonna be a subcontractor employees?
Contract.
Yeah, it's independent.
Independent contractor, that's what I mean.
No retirement, no nothing.
That's what I mean.
Independent, yeah.
So, just so everybody's, that we get a certificate of insurance, so it matches the insurance that we have work comp, liability, so he's not considered an employee on our work comp policy.
Right, and there's one more thing I'd like to mention. So the proposed contract would be for July 23rd, which is tonight, 2025, to April 30th, 2026. That's when our fiscal year ends. then we would start again. Hopefully in the new year, whole year.
But you understand the certificate, name of the village, think the attorney understand that. Then I just have a concern, I want him to get the job, just that there's no conflict of the, how it works for him doing it, thanks for walking away.
I need to get a pencil. I need to get a pencil so I can write down your concern.
Well, I just don't want anything to come up down the road that he's protected. If there's a job done in Antioch now, he's protected. That he's not inspecting his own stuff.
In other words, what you're saying is if he applies for a building permit, he's also doing his own.
Well, it's a company, he's got a company,
Right,
so
he's
he's
got a
got employees. I just wanna make sure he and his company are protected. And a certificate that the villages. Certificate of insurance, work comp, on a non-contributory basis for work. I don't want any harm to come to the family. Someone making some silly accusation.
Howard, how do we do that? So, you know, obviously, he's local, he's gonna be doing work, obviously around town. So on his jobs, do we have somebody else come in?
Let's backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
We had a similar position, person doing this, and I guess it was not an issue because the contract was awarded.
Sure.
The only reason why I brought this up is because what this person was asking for was very costly.
Sure.
So all of this, I thought was already resolved in the first go around, but I guess it hasn't.
Sure, no, I guess. The question.
I'm just
yeah,
stepping
no, I'm
into
just-
that.
We can work, it's covered in there.
Sure.
Use an outside contract.
Sure, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I just want to protect him.
Okay. Other comments on this?
No.
All right, we'll move that on. Thank you, Howard. The next is discussion regarding an ordinance amending sections of the Antioch Village Code regarding licenses selling product containing THC and kratom. Administrator Gutchow, I know this is our fourth or fifth go around on this. Without throwing a wrinkle in this too far, as I did read it, I would probably request another revision, which I don't know if we could revise it tonight on his face, but it was my understanding that, and one of the Mr. Kosh is here, he could probably clarify this for us. But it's my understanding that all these drinks that are for sale contain Delta 9, and not Delta 8. And I believe that Delta 8 is still allowed in this ordinance, so I'd ask that we would strike Delta 8 and leave Delta 9 and also add language that must be that less than 0.03% pursuant to the Farm Bill. Wasn't that the other thing that we discussed? It's on all these cans. And that may be in there, but I just want to clarify that that we make this a very, very narrow thing, because as we know, tomorrow something else will pop up and we'll be back here doing Delta 10 or Delta 11, and he may already know that it's coming, so.
It's Delta 9.
They're all Delta 9 and .03. We are not even allowed to have any .03.
Yeah. So just to clarify, because you got somebody comes in with Delta 8 that's 0.10 or whatever, yeah.
Just, I'll defer to the attorney, just based on the section page. I mean,
Sure.
Looks like it prohibits Delta 8.
That's correct. It does, and if we want to adopt it with this is just on it's just on fleet manual.
Yeah.
So when we bring it back next meeting, presumably, we will make sure that those changes are made.
Yeah, and I think specifically what I'm talking about is the paragraph that talks about, it's the exception in paragraph 3A. It says the foregoing prohibition shall not apply to recreational cannabis as defined in the code. That are licensed by the village, notwithstanding the foregoing commercially manufactured beverages containing Delta 8 THC, Delta 9 THC, or THC may be sold to any person under 21. I would prefer we strike Delta 8 THC and then also put in the caveat that it must be that less than 0.03%.
Okay, that's covered in the US Farm Bill.
Yeah. Yep.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I just want to
We'll strike the THC and the Delta
8. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Understood what you're saying.
Right. That's what we're trying. That's what we're trying to get to. I think.
Yes.
Okay.
It was,
I think, okay, so sorry to throw a loophole in that. Go ahead. I just noticed that when I was reading, I just want to make sure we're very clear on that.
So generally speaking, I think, we were legal to come up with a ordinance that would achieve the board's vision of limiting the sales of these products within our community. But also understanding that the trends of the market continue to evolve and there's legitimate business to be had with the sale of some of these drinks that if we prohibit it, brings a non-competitive advantage to some of our local businesses. So in essence, it continues the ban on the regular edible format of the Delta products, continues the ban on the leaf or flour version of the products, but carves out an exemption for the commercially mass-produced beverages, as Mr. Kosh and many of our other retailers wish to sell that contain Delta 9, so long as they agree to the caveat that they will not sell to any person under the age of 21 years of age, which is a step above what their requirements are. As we discussed before, there are no state requirements for sales, age limitations on sales, and it puts the onus on the merchant to ensure some sort of positive identification containing proof of age and identity to that person making the purchase. It does continue the outright ban of kratom sales within the village, which, refresher to the board, kratom is another quote unquote natural product derived from a plant that has the same effects as a synthetic opioid, potential for addiction and overdose. So it's something we certainly don't want to allow to be sold in our community, but it's our goal to try to strike a balance between keeping some of these lesser regulated products out of our markets within the community and deferring to these commercially mass produced, quality assured products that are being sold within the Delta 9 beverage market.
Thank you. Questions, additional questions?
just a statement. We get certificates for liquor. There's a lot of insurance companies that don't cover this type of product on their dram shop. So if we can ask that anybody that wants to sell this gives the village a certificate of insurance showing this chemical on here. So if someone does harm to one of the residents, there's a pool of money the family can get to. Not saying you would do harm, but there's always bad players in a group of people. But we just gotta protect the people, so just like driving a car, you got insurance to protect the family you hit. So if someone's doing overserve someone or whatever, they give us an insurance policy, yeah, they can sell this product.
I agree with trustee Mason. I think taking it one step further, once we get this ordinance passed or however it goes, I think we seriously consider, adding either an addendum or a separate class of license where they verify this and have to give the insurance for it.
Yes, I know that was brought up by the board in previous discussions. That's a rather lengthy legal research project that Jimmy's office is currently underway with.
Okay, thank you. Questions, trustee Pierce?
What if somebody decides to sell this to people under the age of 21? Is there any prevention?
Well, there'd be the same penalty that would fall under the general penalty violation of this ordinance.
Okay.
Currently with our license holders, it's a potential trigger for a license hearing. We have had some of these hearings previously under the jurisdiction of the liquor commissioner, and sanctions have been imposed on the business, including rather hefty fines and license suspensions.
So do they have to have a liquor license before they can sell THC derivative product?
I don't want to go there.
We said no. I mean, that was the point. The point was that they did not need a liquor license to go on that. That the sanction would go through. So the administrator is correct, of course. And we did sanction people under the liquor code because they violated a predecessor to what this would be as past ordinance. But we would sanction them just like we would anyone else who violated an ordinance. We'd go through the code provisions, and if we did come up with licensure, which is an excellent idea by the mayor, then we would revoke that license. It would give another level of protection for the community to ensure that malfeasance, bad actors, weren't selling to people under the age of 21.
So they go to adjudication.
They go to adjudication court, yeah.
And we have the trustee of the board to be part four.
We, well, I think. Yeah,
It's gonna probably not be a worry.
Yeah. Right. The law will restrain him more than he will restrain himself, like he would, yeah, he'd throw both of them, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Continue to move this on to the, so it'll be voted on the 13th, okay? Thank you. All right, if we don't have any other business, I'd adjourn and just go right into the next meeting if you're okay with that, so. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion trustee Peterson, second trustee Luther, roll call please, or all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting's adjourned 8:56. On to the regular meeting, roll call please.
Mason,
Here.
Luther,
Here.
Here. Present.
Present.
Present, we have a consent agenda, I have 6 items, is there any request for any of those items to be removed from the consent agenda? If not, entertain a motion in a second, please. I'll move. Motion trustee Luther,
Second.
second trustee Peterson, roll call please. Yes. I like it.
Oh,
I like it.
it's 9 o'clock.
I had 9:15, I had 9:15 written down.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martina.
Yes.
Pierce.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Regular business, first is consideration and approval of payments of accounts payable as prepared by staff in the amount of $2,112,768.54. Do I have a motion in a second? Motion trustee Mason,
Second.
second trustee McNeil, discussion or any of the large items that need discussion? All right, roll call please.
Mason.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Next few items, I believe are related to Brock's backyard. First is consideration and approval of an ordinance granting land use relief for the property located at 453 Main Street, Unit A, in the village of Antioch, Illinois, special use restaurant. Ordinance number 25-7-26. Do I have a motion and a second, waiving the second reading?
Wait a second.
Motion trustee Mason, waiving the second reading, trustee Luther second. Roll call please.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martina.
Yes.
Pierce.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration and approval of the resolution approving a site plan for real property located at 453 Main Street, Unit A, in the village of Antioch, Illinois. Pour and Play Entertainment, DBA Brock's Backyard, resolution number 25-55. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee Peterson,
Second.
second trustee McNeil, roll call please.
Yes.
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 Pierce.
Aye.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing and approving the purchase of an eagle for the Veterans Memorial on behalf of the village of Antioch, Illinois. Resolution 25-26, it's a statute. Not a real eagle.
That would be
Resolution
cool.
25-56. I have a motion and a second.
So move.
Motion trustee.
Second.
Second trustee Peterson. Anything on this item? All right, roll call please.
Mason.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Item 11, consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing and approving the replacement and installation of the Village of Antioch Police Department generator to MK Properties Inc. in the amount of $84,000 and authorizing the village administrator to execute the proposal to MK Industries Inc. Resolution 25-57. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee McNeil this time.
Second.
Second trustee Luther. Roll call please.
Mason.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martina.
Yes.
Pierce.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the Public Works Department to acquire one dump truck in the amount of $219,844.00. Resolution 25-58. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee Luther.
Second.
Second trustee Peterson. Roll call please.
Mason.
Yes.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Pierce.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the Public Works Department to acquire one backhoe loader in the amount of $147.27, resolution 2559. Motion is second.
So move.
Motion trustee Peterson,
Second.
second trustee McNeil, roll call please.
Yes.
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 Aye.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. 14, consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the fine screen modification utilizing Trotter and Associates as an engineering firm, resolution number 25-60. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee McNeil.
Second.
Second trustee Peterson, roll call please.
Yes.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Yes.
Trying to time it.
Yes.
Pierce.
Aye.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing a Trojan UV Plus module to replace the failed one. Whatever that means. What does that mean?
Say that again.
Get clarification.
What?
Now, what's a Trojan, is that?
No, it's the UV module.
Authorizing the purchase.
What sterilizes?
Oh, okay.
It's a sterilization device.
UV lights, all right. Resolution number 25-61. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee McNeil, motion, second trustee Peterson. Roll call, please.
Mason.
Yeah. Yes. Well, yeah, it was a kind of, I don't even know.
Yes.
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 Pierce.
Aye.
Peterson.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Last item, consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing and approving a memorandum of understanding between the Joint Emergency Telephone System Board of Lake County and the Village of Antioch, Illinois, resolution 25-62. Do I have a motion and a second?
I'll move.
Motion trustee Luther,
Second.
second trustee McNeil, roll call please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Aye.
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Administrators reports.
Thank you. This afternoon, we held a 4th of July and summer kickoff concert, post-event review among staff and mayor and peers who were gracious enough to join. We hold these post-event review meetings after all of our large events just to talk about our successes, our challenges, areas for improvement. The discussions focus mostly on logistics, public safety, crowd control and management, and community feedback that was received. I know as elected officials, you receive a tremendous amount of feedback as well. So I always, hear critiques or successes, please pass them around our events. Love to make sure we do it better next time. We identified a number of strong community turnout, and a lot of effective coordination that took place. But again, there's always opportunities for improvement. Small things like waste receptacle placement, improving communications among staff, looking to purchase some walkie-talkie radios with earpieces, those types of things. But that's where these ideas worked out of. Howard did talk about some building inspection services with the plumbing inspector. As the board is aware, we had recently unexpectedly lost our in-house building inspector, who also handled most of our in-house plan reviews for permit applications. Coming into the very busy construction season, we had to kind of quickly pivot to maintain these such a service during the building season for our contractors and our homeowners and our property owners. We initially hoped that this vacancy would be short term. We did post the position immediately. However, we did receive a lower than anticipated response. And during the first round of applications, we did not receive any qualified applicants for the position. So myself and Lori, as HR manager, are looking to make some revisions to the job posting itself, as well as some of the responsibilities, and plan to repost that in a manner that we hope will draw a little bit more of a positive response from suitable candidates. In the interim, as I previously mentioned in a prior report, to avoid the disruption of service of plan reviews and permit issuance and inspections that go along with it, we did engage HR Green. Inspection services are something that are covered within our general services agreement with them. Actually outlines more the rates that we pay for such things to utilize one of their certified building officials. I just want to let the board know that since this has dragged on a little bit longer than anticipated, the cost is coming in a little bit higher than what we had hoped. It is an unbudgeted expense. We did have the salary budgeted for the full-time building inspector that we're not currently incurring, but we are incurring these professional services from HR Green, which would be unbudgeted expenses. Today, we've incurred approximately $23,000 in expenses. There's been some rather large plan reviews that they've had to handle that have taken more time than I think normally, you know, a deck would take, right? There's been some big projects that we're working on. This portion of that expense will be offset by salary savings on field position. But I just wanted to let you know that this is currently taking place. I do plan to bring forward, after talking to Jimmy and how to work through this, we're gonna bring forward some formal legislation at the next board meeting to kind of address and resolve the budgetary impacts of this ongoing expenditure and vacancy, which will continue until such time we can get a qualified in-house building inspector. I would just allow you, the board, the opportunity to, of course, indicate tonight if they have any concerns with the previous current arrangement that's being utilized and steps are being taken. Absent that, we'll continue to proceed with using interim services of HR Green and prepare the budget adjustments and then continue our search for a full-time building inspector. Hopefully you have the opportunity to see online that the Williamsburg Pavilion project is officially complete. A very collaborative process between the village, the Lions Club really spearheaded this project. As I previously mentioned, Denny Bowling Jr. of Antioch Electric big step forward in our time of need, having lost our building inspector, who's also our village electrician, to help us get the pavilion electric up and running in time for the chicken barbecue. I had a conversation yesterday. He's made the business decision that he is donating 100% of the materials and his son's labor to get this project done. Worked through the weekend to make sure it was done in time. Dennis and his crew spent time this week making sure the fence is down, grounds are being groomed, and we're ready for the big chicken barbecue kickoff event this Sunday.
And the board, Lions Club and Mayor Hanson had contacted me. They're asking us to do a little ribbon cutting and acknowledgement to that on Saturday, so Sunday, so we're gonna do that probably around 12:30.
Sunday, right?
Sunday, yeah, Sunday. Yeah, 12:30 to 1, we'll do thank you or acknowledgement, so.
I had the privilege of attending the Wall That Heals opening ceremony along with members of my police department command staff and several other members of our village hall team. I think we all found the event to be a moving and meaningful experience, which really offered kind of a unique opportunity to honor our veterans and their service to our country, and also a way to connect with our community members in kind of a heartfelt way. We were all humbled to be a part of this tribute and appreciate the efforts of all that were involved in bringing this memorial to our community. I think it was one of those once in a lifetime opportunities that will live on in our memories for years to come. Moving on to Village Hall, construction move-in. So got a couple of photos just to show you. It's been a while since we showed any. Jim pulls those up real quick. Furniture installation is scheduled to begin on Monday, 7 o'clock. It will take a couple of days. And of course, there's always punch list items. We did have a delay in our door access control systems being installed. That's going to kick us back about a week. So our tentative move-in dates now are adjusted to around the 21st or 22nd of August. So just a bit later than originally anticipated. Of course, it's a big move for everybody. So logistics and operational transition planning are still ongoing internally, and kind of once the move picture comes into process. So I think we can all agree that this is a much improved public entry to our village hall. So when you walk in, that will be where staff, residents and business stakeholders will be greeted. You have to get over there and see it if you haven't had the opportunity. I know a couple of you walk through, but it's rather spectacular after spending decades and decades and decades in this building and what we're walking into. It's just kind of a standard image of what an office looks like on the exterior. Again, I think you had the opportunity to visit with a number of us Village Hall in our offices. Again, there's no way to argue that this is a significant step upward in offering our staff a modern facility with comfortable work environment. Jim's still working on his interior decorating photography skills, so
Yeah.
nice
Staging.
So that's our internal conference room that also served as executive session before. Nice little kitchen upgrade. That little gallery kitchen in the back where you can hardly squeeze two people. So this will be a nice, comfortable environment for everybody to go and have their lunch and again have a comfortable environment. That's the entrance into the boardroom. So that will be one of the areas that the public will enter, going through the double wide doors, which of course will be ADA compliant, accessible, making it much easier for our disabled residents to visit us. And that's kind of the boardroom. So again, I think a tremendous step up in terms of technology. You know, Amy's very excited. But allow not only the board to more easily view all of our presentations, it'll make it easier for staff to view what they're presenting without having to turn back and forth, but also most importantly, it'll allow all those in the gallery to actually see what we're talking about in a very, very meaningful way. So it should be a lot more engaging space. Certainly looks nice. We have commissioned the mayor's portrait for the wall. Kidding.
The horse's ass.
Only get thumbs. Yeah. Rachel's working with the Historical Society to incorporate kind of a decor of a number of historic photos from all over Antioch. It'll be printed and hung throughout the facility. So just wanted to give you a little taste of what that building is going to look like. We look forward to soft opening and maybe revisit again. If you have an interest in going through, our contractors still are on site daily. The hard hat phase has passed, so you're free to stop by at any time. Just let them know who you are.
What about security for the girls, the contractors that come in screaming?
So the vestibule, and it's correct me wrong, but we are awaiting the glass. That's the partitions to be installed, so they're still being manufactured. Like I said, there's a couple little items that need to be bought up before we move in. Again, moving on to more complex security measures, certainly more robust cameras throughout the building, which I know you're always a fan of. Card-coded security access from any of the public areas to the internal hallways. And again, the ability to change those based on what we're using the spaces for, so we can unlock electronically the access to the public to come in and out if there's an event taking place, while maintaining electronically locked doors to the secure areas of the building.
And I know Rachel's gonna coordinate with the board, like a little ribbon cutting walkthrough, either at 5:30 before a board meeting or on a weekend to get in there. Maybe before everyone has their personal stuff in the offices, we'll get everybody through there.
Once furniture's wrapped up, we'll let everybody know and get it to a good place for y'all to come through as a group.
Thank you. Village clerk.
Kurt had sent a message today, our waste hauler, asking that they adjust the start time around the extreme heat, so that they start at 30 a.m. Tomorrow morning to allow their staff to ensure and Facebook post has been shared on that. Also in your packets, because I have a report tonight, but Finance Director Peterson included a monthly treasury, so that is.
All right, trustee reports, any trustee reports? Down here, trustee Pierce.
I just want to say, so everybody knows, when I was in high school, the high school mascot was a Trojan. So Dennis, keep that UV thing away from me.
Trustee Martinez?
I'd just like to thank, all those directors that received communications from me this past week. You gotta keep in mind, I'm very inquisitive about, the ongoings here in our community. One of the big tells though is that, the fiduciary commitment from our directors and staff is very telling. And for that, I thank you for your participation. Bear with me as the questions start coming at you. The Lake County Fair is coming to town. It started today, and we have the good opportunity to have said that my family won first place in hunting again this year, and so we're longtime beekeepers, and
As the board gets that.
hopefully here by the end of the month. We go through our first flow, and then we'll do 2 flows. So right now we're collecting honey as we speak. I also hope to say that, and Katie could respond to this, is that I've been reaching out to Lake County Farm Bureau and hope to have them in town here and within the next couple of weeks. And those are little things that I champion. Obviously, I'm a big fan of ag, so thank you for that.
Thank you. Very good. All right. We have a couple other reports. Jim's village administrator. And we have Parks, Public Works, which will be a long report, and then executive session.
Good evening, Mayor, Village Board. I'll be quick. Just an update. We continue to work with our communications consultant on with establishing good best practices and workflow with staff, elected officials, our communications people to get information out to residents as quickly as possible. I think we continue to make progress. I think things overall are working real well with our current consultant. Just so you guys are aware, Facebook continues to be our #1 way to reach people. Recently, we surpassed the 17,000 follower mark. For a town of 15,000 people, that's pretty impressive. By way of comparison, Buffalo Grove is about 43,000 residents and about 11,000 Facebook followers. So if you look at the comparison, we're well overachieving in that. And we continue to update Facebook daily or several times a day with messages for residents. Also during the month of June alone, and I think this is because of the quality of events that we put out in our community, our Facebook reached over 1 million people during the month of June, which is very impressive. And that again speaks to the content that we put out promoting our events that go on in this village. So definitely people on Facebook are interested in what's going on here. That's reaching obviously far more than just the Antioch or Lake County area. So we continue to make progress there. Also with our outreach, I work with our Parks Department to increase the visibility of our farmers market, which is every Thursday, 4 to 7 across the street if you guys are available to stop by. We had this past week, 102.3, the country station was out at the farmers market right before our country concert with Mackenzie O'Brien. So it was good to promote the farmers market and the concert and also the Walnut Fields. The week previous to that, we were with Will Rock broadcast live from our farmers market, and then they promoted the concert that evening with the Complex, very great local band. And then they also promoted the Walnut Fields in addition to their live broadcast. Katie could probably touch on this, but we have a back to school bash where we're bringing Royal Bliss back to the band shell next month. We had an opportunity to be on Will Rock to talk about that, and then we got an extra segment to talk about the Walnut Hills. So our outreach, we've been doing a lot of outreach for the community events that have been going on. Our IT department, our IT manager, Amy's been very busy. Is an employee here. I love working with her. Not only does she do a good job, she's got a great attitude, brings a lot to the village. She last week worked with Comcast to get our new village hall set up. So the Comcast install was successful last week. Amy's now in the process of getting her network up and running at the new village hall. Also working for the installation of the cameras and access control, which Administrator Gutchow touched on. Also business development. Kim, who you saw earlier tonight, has been busy working with her. In addition to recruiting businesses, working with our current businesses to help them become more visible to the people in town and outside of town. We just started a partnership with the Navy base promoting downtown our businesses and also events to families that are here for the Navy graduation. That's all I got for you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Parks. Kate.
Well, I had a super long report, but everybody stole my information, so lucky you guys. Just a little update on Centennial Park, the renovation of that park. We're waiting on confirmation of dates for the survey work to begin. And we are approving the geotech proposal, which is the soil investigation. And we anticipate that testing to begin in 5 or 6 weeks. So things are moving along slowly but surely. The It's Thursday concert series, they've been well attended each week. Tomorrow night, we're excited to welcome Mr. Blotto, followed by Cashmere on July 31st, the Stingrays on August 7th, and Royal Bliss on August 14th for the Back to School Bash. To complement the Stingrays on August 7th, we are again hosting the Classic Car Show. As of today, there were like 65-ish cars registered for the car show, so that's very exciting. And Kristen Fielder, our special event supervisor, was able to work with some area businesses to get the prize money donated for that. So there's a savings. So that's great news. We had rain impact our shows on June 26th was Jolly Ringwald. That show had to be called at about 35 minutes after it started. And then while the show wasn't canceled on July 10th for the complex, we had significantly lower attendance than anticipated. So that is too bad, but we did have the diehards out there regardless. We were able to add a show on August 21st, so that's exciting. We have Kaleidoscope Eyes. They're like an acoustic style Beatles tribute. So that'll be a really fun show. And then we were able to reschedule the Jolly Ring Waltz for August 28th. So we will have live music through the end of August. Very good news. We had talked last time about the splash pad usage and evaluation. Just want to let you know, I've not forgotten about it, even though I did spend a week in Florida. But I am currently completing that evaluation. I hope to bring something to you all with a recommendation next month. All I have. Any questions? Thank you.
Last but not least, Dennis.
They did. They didn't tell me that. Tell them.
First off, thank you for, the items that I brought to the board tonight. Purchase, I appreciate that, and moving forward with those budgeted items. Some of the work between, roughly the 4th of July and the Lions Club, which we're setting up for, today, Thursday, Friday, and then we'll probably just Monday, assisting them with, setting up the grills and tents and electrical. So a couple crews were out at Springer Park, did some heavy path maintenance alongside the path, and then within the path, of course, because of the growth that we get, and then did some cutting back by the fishing pier and some other areas, open up that pathway a little bit better from the overgrowth. Also down at Pearson Park, they performed similar work, and they added some mulch to the walking path that goes along the southern border. So for visiting there, you'll notice that. Separate crew was in Redwood View subdivision. We removed and replaced about 2 squares of sidewalk. Basically trip hazards that we have on our list. We have a short window to get in there and take care of all of those. The concrete lifting gentleman, we spoke with him. We're hoping to get him on the schedule before November, sometime now November, to get him to come in and complete the lifting that really will have specified subdivisions that we'll send to as we have that data in-house. Also working on the new flagpole for the new village hall. You may have seen, if you've been there over the past couple days, a piece of plywood in the center island, just north of the main entrance. There'll be a flagpole that's erected there by the flagpole. And then we have to run some electric for the outlet. Recently the road program, so I know it's been kind of delayed. I brought it up previous reports, but they've settled on a program that HR Green will develop, put out the bid. That'll include the roads. We had a little bit of funding changes, and you may have seen with the recent payments. Payment on received a couple of payments. One was from last year's road program, which was retention, but there was one from 2023, which was delayed due to or close to the railway. They have to get special permission, and then they have to schedule flaggers hired basically through CN. So that delayed them. So last year when we did it, so those 2 payments came in, which reduced my MFT funds for this year. So the roads that I'm looking at are David Street, which I mentioned before, which is a short roadway from Lake Street to Orchard. Once you make the turn, Orchard to Hillside, from down Hillside to Blackman Terrace, Chestnut, Bishop, Birchwood, which I had mentioned before, Drum and Dwight, and then depending on how the bids come in, I may have to pull one road. It might be that short leg of Orchard, roads in decent shape, or maybe Dwight. So I'll evaluate that once that program is bid and we receive it. Public Works Facility, last Thursday we opened bids, 31 bid packages. There's a lot of bid packages that we're going through. We're in the current state of reviewing those. FQC I've been in the majority of the scope meetings to understand that the bidder knew fully aware of what they were bidding, that they had certain things included. So then we can come to the board, hopefully at the next board meeting with the majority of the bids. I don't know if we'll have all of them. And present for award and to move forward with those bids. And the later meeting in August, we're going to have all the bids, present the remainder of all the bids. Also, we will be coming forward with the FQC contract for the next phase, which would be the construction phase. Right now, they're only contracted out to the bidding phase. Once we're done with this bidding phase, then we would move them into the next phase. I believe that was presented probably about a year ago, but that would come also. The Woods Antioch project, about 50% of that project is binder course paid. The remainder of the concrete, phase 2 has been removed. It's up to an aggregate elevation. They're currently doing curb and gutter removal replacement today and tomorrow. Then once that's cured, then we'll go back and do the binder course. Bubble's phase 4. I'm not sure if some of you are aware of some of the interactions we've had with the developer and the engineer. They're set to start building homes in conversations with ComEd to install ComEd's utility. ComEd requested or basically told the developer and the village that they will no longer install their utility in the rear yards, which is where it was intended to be and is in phase 1, 2, and 3. So working with Dan Hart, who's the developer's engineer, we've looked at putting in the front yard adjacent to our water and sewer easement. So it'll be a separate easement that will most likely be on the homeowner side of the sidewalk, where the ComEd line will be underground. But in doing that, there will be some amendments. Howard, myself, H.R. Green have worked with, like I said, the developer, me and Art, to create a revision to the plat to add that. Electrical boxes. Yes, they will.
Are they gonna be shared electrical boxes or are they gonna be like one?
It'll be like, it would be like exactly what you see in the rear yard. So it'll be a 4x4, 2 foot off the ground, or a pedestal that would feed multiple residents. And street lighting.
That one resident.
Their locations will be on the property lines, but I fought to not have them do that because it was basically an existing subdivision, but comments saying they don't do it anymore. They're not the only community.
Yeah, they're doing it everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow, they could just do what they want.
They're coming. Yeah, they just doubled your rates.
That concludes my report.
Trustee Martinez. Director, I'd ask that you do me a favor, once you finalize your list of street repairs and upgrades, that you send us a PDF. I like spending the time walking, talking to our community. I know that's one of their issues, and I gladly accept that, so that I have answers for those questions, so you don't have to have those conversations. So
Yeah, the streets that I listed, which I can send the list, that's the list that the engineer has, which will create the bid package.
Yeah.
And put that out to bid. Any other street repairs, like our water main repairs, which quite a few of them out there that we need to attend to, we'll do those in-house.
Thank you. All right, thank you. I had no request for executive session. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Trustee Peterson, second. Trustee Pierce, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned at 9:29 p.m.